5 Stages of Relationships by Deco's TV. Even if it only happens once, everyone has the experience of falling in love. When you're in love with someone, you realize that the tricky thing isn't falling in love in the first place but rather working to keep the connection going. It isn't easy to negotiate relationships because they're all unique. It's not always possible to rely on strategies that have previously worked for you and your colleagues. Relationships typically progress through 5 stages, according to our research. You can tell a lot about the future of your relationship by how you respond to hiccups. Many people aren't aware of the many stages of a relationship until it's too late. However, if you don't realize what's happening in your relationship, it's easy for things to fall apart rapidly. This knowledge will come in handy when you and your spouse go through one of these stages. There are 2 stages of romance. When we're in love, it's difficult to see our partner's flaws. We can't notice anything wrong with them because we're so engrossed in our obsession with them. Both are spouses and we perceive each other through a filter of perfection. However, this dream does not persist indefinitely. As a rule of thumb, this stage doesn't last longer than 2 years. Let's take a closer look at the romance stage by looking at it from the evolutionary perspective. To ensure that our species would not go extinct, nature wanted to produce something when the human race began to evolve. Reproductive systems and mental processes allow us to express our feelings toward each other. Throughout the evolution of humanity, we were able to build close bonds with one another thanks to the development of love. When we fall in love, we often choose a partner who isn't typically a good match. We may think of them as someone who can make our wildest fantasies come true, but they are also capable of doing the exact opposite. Then why would nature want us to be attracted to an unsuitable partner? In love, we find ourselves able to fit together like the parts of a puzzle because our personalities are so different from each other. A new puzzle piece is formed when you put these 2 pieces together. A missing piece that makes the puzzle unsolvable. A bit of nature is more likely to survive and ensure the survival of the human race. Our affection for someone so different from ourselves might be perplexing when we retrospectively reflect on it. The production of feel-good hormones such as oxytocin, phenylethylamine, serotonin, and dopamine by our brains ensures that we will fall in love as nature intended. These hormones aid a biological process that relieves tensions and fills us with adoration and a desire to please. That's why it's so difficult for us to see the defects in our partner. These hormones cover our shortcomings and motivate us to do anything we can to keep the romance alive. In our relationships, while we aren't faking love, we're donning an expression of admiration. Our spouse may leave us if we take this mask off and reveal who we are, so we keep it on. You can focus on discussing complex topics with your partner to avoid a significant argument or confusion, such as whether or not you both want children or marriage in your future. This infatuation stage makes it appear as if all is well, but it will eventually fade. When you begin to worry about the permanence of your relationship, whether it's through dating exclusively, living together, getting engaged, or any other means, you've reached the point where the next stage of your relationship kicks in. This is when you realize that you and your partner are the most incompatible people you've ever met. It's now time for the power struggle. Many of us compare our relationships to those we've seen in films or novels, leading us to believe that they'll never be as good as those we've seen on screen or in literature. A lot of stress and pain ensues between partners during this period since the once peachy acute love you had has dissolved in front of you. When we don't feel these things, we turn to anger to fill the void, leading to further issues. Rather than focusing on the things that make our relationships appear flawless, we begin to focus on what makes them seem nearly disgusting to us. It's common for one partner to retreat during this time in a relationship. This individual is no longer the person they fell in love with, they are angry and hurt because of it. To avoid being ignored, one partner must initiate contact with the other, all the while feeling afraid of being emotionally abandoned. As difficult as this stage might be for most couples, it also allows you to reestablish your individuality in the relationship and look within. During this stage, many people begin to believe that all of their efforts were in vain and that it would be too challenging to reestablish what they once had. This is when couples choose to break up to look for a new partner, and this is also when most divorces occur. 3. Stability stage. This stage can be reached if you and your spouse confront and recognize each other's concerns. You and your lover fall into a deeper and more exciting relationship after overcoming the potholes. As much as you may want to at first, you now know that you can't alter your partner and don't want to. The good and the evil you see in them, and you're ready to embrace it. Even though most people would prefer to remain in this relationship stage, doing so can quickly lead to boredom. The rush of being in love can wear off after a while, and you'll need something unique to reignite it. It is usual for couples to get through these challenges by having fun together and keeping the romance alive in their relationship. Stage 4: Making a commitment. Relationships and partnerships are commonly associated with marriage, even though this is not usually what this stage is meant to represent. You and your partner are ready for marriage at this moment, although many couples rush into marriage when still in the honeymoon phase of their relationship. There comes a time in each person's life when they realize they no longer require their spouse but desire it. You've come to terms with the fact that neither of you is without flaws. Despite these flaws, you crave each other and plunge into an infinite wave of euphoric, adventurous freedom. However, many people believe that because they have made it this far, their work as a team must be over because it feels so lovely. Because they want to spend as much time as possible with their loved ones, they often put their ambitions on hold. Alternatively, they grow careless about preserving their emotional ties. You and your partner will always have to rediscover one another since you are both changing and growing. The stage of bliss. You and your partner become aware of your love for one another at this point, and you decide to go public with it. As a thank you for all that nature has given you, including the potential to share such a beautiful experience, it is time to return the favor. Donating to charities, raising children, participating in community service, or founding a family company are common ways couples give back to society. To avoid problems in the future, couples who have been together for a long time need to remember to nurture their connection. Even though relationships can be challenging, it is critical to have the skills necessary to deal with conflict successfully. It's rare for two people to fall in love at the exact moment. And it's much easier to deal with the many stages of your relationship when you've learned to recognize them. Remember that losing some of your sentiments for others is normal and that not everything lasts in your life forever. But you don't have to feel bad about it. Your relationship will benefit much from the time and effort you put into it. Let me know what you think. What stage of a relationship are you now in? Do you find that stage particularly challenging? Let us know in the comments section below. You can help us make more funny videos by giving this one a thumbs up and telling your friends about it. To be alerted when posting new videos, click on the notification bell and hit the subscribe button after you've subscribed. Thank you for your time and attention. The Decode TV.